Let's be honest, how often do we find ourselves scrolling through social media or watching the news and wondering, is that person really saved? It's easy to do, right? But what if the Bible warns that the more we point fingers at others, the more we actually need to be looking in a mirror? Spiritual pride is one of the sneakiest sins out there because it looks a lot like wisdom. We start playing the role of judge and jury, making a mental list of who's in and who's out, usually based on things we can see or standards we've made up. Trying to be the bouncer at heaven's gate is a heavy burden we were never meant to carry when the only soul we're actually responsible for is our own. So when Jesus said, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged," he's calling for us to completely change our focus. A constantly critical and judgmental attitude is a huge red flag that there's a much bigger problem in our own hearts. When we put on the judge's robe, we're not just being hypocrites, we're signing ourselves up for that exact same level of scrutiny. We're applying for a job that's already taken. The Bible is crystal clear. There is only one lawgiver and judge. There is only one who can save and destroy. So if the problem is a pointed finger, what's the solution? It's the exact opposite. An open hand. Real faith doesn't start with judgment. It starts with humility. The Bible says it over and over. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humility is the soil where true assurance begins to grow. It's when we get real with ourselves and admit that we're saved by a gift we didn't earn, not because we're good people. Remember that story Jesus told? The Pharisee was totally convinced of his spot with God, even thanking him that he wasn't a mess like other people. But the tax collector couldn't even look up to heaven. He just beat his chest and said, "God, have mercy on me, a sinner." And who did Jesus say went home justified? The humble guy. So let's circle back. Why are we so sure we're going to heaven? If your certainty comes from looking around and thinking, well, at least I'm not as bad as them, then you are standing on dangerously shaky ground. But if your assurance comes from a place of humility, from knowing you're a sinner saved completely by what Christ did on the cross, then you're standing on solid rock. The real question isn't whether they'll make it. The question is, have you humbled yourself before God? You know you're truly growing in your faith when you find yourself judging others less and becoming way more aware of your own desperate need for grace. If this challenged you today, share one way you're going to practice humility this week in the comments. Let's agree to leave the judging to God and get back to what He actually asks of us to do.